my life, I've been a global traveler, seeking cultures and traditions that are just as vibrant today as in times past. We're opening doors, stepping into worlds most never see, because that's where the best stories are. We're sharing tales of local life and the working world, plus spending time with some of the most interesting people you'd ever want to meet. It's truly privileged access that always leaves me excited to explore more. In this episode of Exploring More with Karine, we'll sample some delightfully different Italian gardens. Then stroll Monet's intimate garden in Giverny, France, before exploring the Yuyuan Garden in Shanghai, China. Our first stop takes us to Italy and two exquisite gardens in Florence. With the blossoming of the Renaissance, the classic Italian formal garden was reborn. Inspired minds in Florence rediscovered Rome's ancient designs, and creativity flourished. The result? Gardens that both mastered and embraced nature, such as Boboli at Florence's legendary Pitti Palace. And in the hillsides of the Arno Valley at Villa Gamberaia, symmetry and balance invite contemplation here, in the midst of resplendent beauty. In Verona, tucked away behind the old city wall, is the inviting Giardino Giusti, a sanctuary that rose from the rubble of a 16th century wool-dyeing factory, where the roar of boiling cauldrons long ago gave way to towering cypresses. With the Medici Gardens of Florence as a guide, the philosophy of the Italian formal garden is masterfully expressed in this intimate setting. Giardino Giusti envisioned this as a place where the play of light and shadow, mythology and nature would fascinate the mind and stir the imagination. Just beyond Naples is the majestic royal palace of Caserta. Its garden an oasis of contours and textures, of fabled figures and astonishing legends, made real in stone. Drawing inspiration from the magnificent Versailles in France, the Caserta garden faithfully brought forth the splendid sense of harmony, as well as man's desire to impose order and symmetry on nature. Constructed in the 18th century, the serene garden gracefully blankets nearly 120 enchanting hectares. And then, on Lake Como, there's Villa de Balbianello, a splendid estate where landscape, architecture, and garden speak with one voice. First imagined in 1787, the gardens of this sheer promontory have been inspiring minds ever since. Wherever you travel in Italy, I hope you'll do as I did and explore its remarkable gardens for yourself. Our next stop is France for Claude Monet's garden just beyond the Seine River in Normandy. Claude Monet, Impressionist master and interpreter of the world around him.
No visit to Monet's home was ever considered complete until you'd had a walk in one of his two stunning gardens.
Everyone's familiar with Monet's gardens at Giverny, but did you know each flower's colour and placement was chosen for its glow in the sunlight? The paintings that once seemed filled with imaginary colours I now see are but real reflections of the vivid surroundings and an absolute feast for the senses.
If there ever was a room with a view, this is it.
Monet so loved his Giverny gardens, he remained there for 43 years. With a focus on colour, he personally continually changed and improved the garden layouts, even though he had 7 gardeners. In his last 30 years, Monet created many of his most memorable works. During this incredibly productive period, his paintings focused almost exclusively on his Giverny gardens, the pond, and his beloved water lilies. Monet was the most successful commercial artist of his time, and his works are more valuable than ever, with one version of the water lily selling for more than $70 million. While Monet passed away in 1926, his gardens and his spirit clearly live on.
This is magic. I feel like I'm part of an impressionist painting.
And you can feel this way too, on Viking's Paris and the Heart of Normandy river cruise. And finally, we're off to China to check out the traditional Yuyuan Garden in Shanghai. Graceful arched roof lines, verdant green paths, and exotic forms in stone, all in the shadow of a modern metropolis.
These are the Yuyuan Gardens. Come on in and I'll show you around. The gardens were built for the wealthy Pan family as their retirement home and is a beautiful and serene place right in the middle of Shanghai.
The garden was conceived during the Ming Dynasty by Pan Yunduan. It took nearly 30 years to finish and consumed almost all the family fortune. Beneath the pristine surface of this tranquil oasis lies an eventful past. It was once the headquarters for a revolutionary movement, attacked by the British and French during the Opium Wars, and then ransacked by the Japanese during World War II. Today, Yuyuan Gardens is a soothing place where the artful play of yin and yang in water and stone create a welcome sense of serenity. An immaculate example of a traditional Chinese garden, twisted sculptures and pathways are found throughout.
It's like a labyrinth in here.
A highlight is the sculpture Exquisite Jade Rock, which was originally intended for the imperial court in Beijing, but was lost in a shipwreck, then salvaged and brought here. Intricate details are found throughout, but the dragons are the most entertaining. They have just 3 claws, since 4 is an unlucky number in China, and only the emperor's imperial dragons can have 5. Look closely and you'll find a frog perched just below the dragon's mouth. It's been said that the frog lives there to catch the dragon's saliva, which has magical properties. And to return the favor, the frog is always ready to scratch the dragon's chin when it itches. Join us again here on Viking.TV as we open more doors around the world on our quest to explore the planet's most fascinating cultures and delightful traditions.